We're excited really to share with you some information about a new product that we're bringing to market and ultimately what that means to you as operators as well as your subscribers. I think on our calendar here we have this scheduled for a full 1 hour. I'm going to promise to do my best to give you a good chunk of that back. I don't think it will take the full hour, but therefore I will just jump right into to the presentation. We're basically going through a major evolution, and what we mean by that is we're taking the current comms module that you all use in some way, shape, or form, and we have upgraded to a new product called CommsPlus. And I'm going to spend some time talking to you about what that means. I will say a couple of things up front here as before we go through the presentation. One is that some of you are actually using pulling data just via the comms API and not necessarily using the white labeled usage meter and such that we offer to many of our customers. As we go through the presentation, I will highlight a couple of areas of additional data that you will be able to pull from the new enhanced API that's part of the CommsPlus package. So just want to make sure I mention that. As well as everything you're about to see when it comes to the functionality within CommsPlus is very much modular. You don't need to use all of it. If there are certain pieces of what we're about to show you that you prefer not to take advantage of, that's really your call. And lastly, really everything that's part of CommsPlus has been requested from our existing customers. So this is why we're pretty excited about bringing it to market. A lot of the feedback that we really appreciate from our customers has been built in to the functionality of CommsPlus, and we'll talk about that as we go through the presentation. But just to get started, the current comms package has been around really since our inception as a company 9 years ago, and it includes three primary pieces. One is the subscriber portal itself, which many of you know is white labeled, so you can brand it as your own. And that includes a usage meter for subscribers. The second piece is the customer care portal, and then the third component is obviously the ability to send email notifications as subscribers are approaching usage limits. So just to talk through, the critical nature of why did we deploy this solution to begin with? Certainly, customer education is a big piece of this, especially for those operators that either want to enforce acceptable use policies or deploy things like usage-based billing, which obviously comes with usage quotas and thresholds that subscribers will be billed if they exceed, as well as the impacts of usage behavior itself, and we'll talk about that here as we go through the deck. The second piece, and we found it very important to show customer care the same view that a subscriber sees, so that your customer care departments can accurately, address customer issues and again see exactly the same view as they see, but also more granular information, such as things like daily usage, that gives customer care the ability to truly help the subscriber better understand their usage behavior. So that's another function. Now, just to give you an idea of just the amount of interaction there is with subscribers using this tool, we see roughly in the neighborhood of 3,000 logins per month across our customer base, and about 200,000 email notifications being sent out to subscribers each month, notifying them of where they are versus their usage allowance or where they are versus the acceptable use policy. So it's a significant opportunity to interact with customers, and it seems to be working. Customers really want to know how much data they're consuming for obvious reasons, whether it be billing or just simply out of curiosity. What does that translate into? Well, frankly, it translates into operational savings. We've now started to we've been able to capture some data from our customers, and we're seeing that those customers that make use of these programs like usage-based billing, like the comms package, and they really interact with their customers, it results in about 10 to 15% fewer phone calls into customer care, which obviously falls directly to the bottom line for our operator customers. So there's a significant operational benefit to this. And the other one that a lot of people might not realize is that it does in fact help curtail usage and ease network congestion. And again, I'm going to use the example of operators that have usage-based billing in place with the comms package, notifying customers, etc. They're seeing on average about 20 gigabytes per month lower average usage than those operators that have unlimited usage and no communications package in place. So that translates into about 7% less usage for these operators, which again translates directly into benefits for the network engineering group and your CapEx budgets as well. And these statistics now that we've been tracking for a number of years are really proving out from operator to operator. All right, so lots of critical functions that this tool provides. But you know, in offering the tool, we did start receiving a lot of customer feedback, operator feedback, and as such, we decided that we really needed to enhance what the communications module was and bring CommsPlus to the marketplace. So I'm going to go through what you see here on the left-hand side, some of the benefits that really are benefits to both the subscriber and the customer care departments. And that includes things like greater visibility into what we call subscriber impacting events. And I'll explain what that means here in a minute. Certainly more interactivity. We're already seeing subscribers using the tool a lot. We're seeing the benefit of that, but we can do better at that as well. And that can actually have an impact such as driving revenues for you. So we'll chat about that, as well as what we call comparative benchmarking. And that's an exciting new capability that we bring to CommsPlus. The ability also for you to customize support and what's shown on the screen as far as FAQ and things. And so that's another benefit. And perhaps most importantly is what we call deeper granularity of data availability, and how we package that and how we represent that, again, can have pretty significant impacts in terms of helping reduce phone calls into customer care, helping identify customers for upgrade, etc. So we'll run through each of those in a little bit more detail to give you a better picture of what this means. So first of all, greater visibility into subscriber impacting events. In the past, you know, we've really provided no visibility as part of the comms package into whether a subscriber has been notified of reaching or approaching a usage threshold. So what this capability now brings us is the ability to list out actually when subscribers have been emailed, different notification levels, so that customer care has that full visibility and transparency. So if a customer says, look, I was never told, or, you know, what have you, we can pinpoint, customer care can pinpoint exactly the message that was sent and when it was sent to the subscriber via email. So that's a new type of visibility that we're providing. The other component of this is the ability to display when policy enforcement occurs. We have some customers on the call that actually will enforce policy on a subscriber who maybe perhaps is in violation of an acceptable use policy, or they're causing network congestion. So we do have the ability to take action on those customers and slow down their speeds, effectively opening up the pipe for everyone else on that particular node. And when that occurs, it's very important that we provide customer care with that kind of visibility in case they get a phone call. Rather than roll a truck out to that subscriber, if they're complaining about slow internet speeds, customer care now has full visibility into why that's occurring, and if policy enforcement is actually being enacted at that point. So this is one of the main functions that we're adding here to CommsPlus. It's that greater visibility into these, what we call subscriber impacting events. So moving on to more interactivity with these tools, and you know, those of you that use the current subscriber usage meter know that we do some basic math around, if you use 200 gigabytes, here's what it equates to in terms of high def movies, etc. But it really doesn't hone in on what the individual subscriber's usage behavior is. So we had a lot of requests to build a more robust calculator, effectively allowing subscribers to enter their habits. How many HD movies do they watch each month? How many YouTube hours of content do they consume, etc. And that will then count up for them. That the calculator will estimate for them what their overall monthly usage will be. And of course, subscribers that have usage-based billing in place with usage quotas, it's going to allow them to better select the tier that they need to avoid those overage fees. So much more interactive from that standpoint. And ultimately, it gives you, as operators, revenue opportunities. Because as we all know, usage is growing substantially. And obviously, we track this across millions of subscribers. And we see that many subscribers, we have some operators with as many as 1/3 of all subscribers are actually on the wrong plan for their level of usage and their usage behavior. So this kind of tool helps highlight that and ultimately will drive upgrades and more ARPU for you as operators. Another pretty interesting addition is what we call comparative benchmarking. And this is actually a function that's become big in the energy space, where households have visibility now into the amount of energy they're consuming versus others in their neighborhood. And we have added that capability in two areas to the CommsPlus package. And one is allowing subscribers to see how they compare to other subscribers on the same plan. And that this is, again, important because in the energy space, what they have found is that it helps curtail energy consumption when subscribers or customers can see just where they stack up versus their peers. So if they find that they're a real power user, it gives them pause and they think, well, I really need to maybe change my habits. And so showing subscribers where they compare others on the same plan is important, as well as giving the ability for operators to show subscribers where they compare to the rest of their neighborhood. And this can become really important when we look at a congested node, for instance. And oftentimes our data shows that we may see one subscriber that's chewing up 80% of the available bandwidth. And that's a tough conversation to have. And if you don't have policy enforcement in place, at the very least, subscribers should be able to see, and customer care should be able to see just how much of an impact an individual subscriber is having on a given node. And giving this kind of visibility and transparency into the data of where they stack up versus their peers on a given node is equally important. So this is another new function that CommsPlus provides. Another key component here is the ability to give you as operators some customization capabilities around the help sections, the tips and tricks that you want to put up on the site. The ability to maybe take some of the more frequent call reasons and put that into an FAQ and maybe avoid those phone calls altogether. And this tool gives you a lot of capability here to customize and ultimately give you an opportunity to communicate in the way that you want with the content that you want to your subscribers. And again, in the past with the comms package, it didn't really have much flexibility in that regard. Everybody kind of saw the same thing. Lastly, in terms of new functionality, and perhaps the most important piece here is what we'd call deeper granularity into the data. As many of you know, we collect usage information every 15 minutes from your network, and we aggregate that usage information to the hourly level for reporting purposes within some of our tools. We've never shown that level of granularity within either the subscriber usage meter or the customer care portal that's part of the comms module. And what we have found is that by sharing that information and giving you views into that granularity, it can allow you to better pinpoint issues with subscriber usage. You know, I'm sure sometimes you get phone calls from subscribers that are concerned about, you know, their level of usage, and your ability as operators to dive in and see maybe a particular day or a particular set of hours where their usage was really high. It may be indicative of they had family over, they had a party or something and gave everybody their Wi-Fi password, and that's what caused the spike. So it allows you to pinpoint the time period that this happened, so that again they can better understand, you know, the impacts of the behavior within their home environment. The other important component of this is the ability then, when you have, you know, the shorter the time period that we can report on, the more accurate we can get with the actual average megabits per second used by each subscriber. And why is that important? Because what we have found, again, is that many subscribers are provisioned on the wrong plan. And there's huge upgrade opportunities and money being left on the table every month by our customers by, you know, it's not just the power users that may benefit from an upgrade. It's subscribers who maybe they have movie night every Friday night, or game night, you know, video game night, or, you know, multiplayer gaming going on at a certain time each you know, week, for instance. And we can see then the megabits per second being utilized and whether that subscriber is bumping up against their provision speed. And that's another great indication of an upgrade candidate if we do see that. So providing this level of granularity can really have significant revenue upside impacts for you as operators. And the other thing I would point out is that it's very clear to us now that operators who have deployed these types of tools and things like usage-based billing, et cetera, are in fact experiencing less phone calls. And part of the reason we're convinced is that subscribers become right-sized for their level of usage. And therefore, they're not bumping up against their provision speed, as an example. And there's no reason for them to call customer care because they're actually getting a good service. So it can have the impact of not just driving incremental revenues, but reducing a lot of operational costs, reducing truck rolls, et cetera. So kind of just in summary of the benefits of CommsPlus, as we've talked about here, you know, it will drive fewer inbound customer calls. You know, the more information we can provide to subscribers to avoid that phone call, the better. And CommsPlus does a great job of doing that. And also gives customer care the information they need to get through the call more quickly and pinpoint issues and allowing you to resolve these calls and keep call times down. Fewer truck rolls, again, as we talked about. You know, many operators, customer care groups, I'm sure you can all attest to this, the default answer many times is to roll a truck out to a subscriber when, you know, the subscriber, the network may in fact be congested at that point and there's no reason to roll a truck. So again, giving more visibility to customer care as well can avoid that default answer of rolling a truck that many operators assign a cost of $75 to $100 per truck roll to. Overall, improved customer satisfaction. So the higher the band, the faster the bandwidth speeds, the better the quality of service a subscriber is going to get, and they're going to be more and more satisfied with the service they're getting from you as operators. And then lastly, as I mentioned, the ability to use all this information to drive upgrades and drive revenues. People don't think of the communications package and customer education necessarily as being a revenue opportunity, but it absolutely is. You can have significant impacts on your ARPU with this type of tool in place. We have one operator that within the first 90 days of deploying this kind of tool, they increased their ARPU by $6 per subscriber per month. So I'm sure that that's a nice percentage increase for anybody on this phone call. So we're excited about bringing CommsPlus to the mix. I will share with you now how this is going to work, because we do have a process in place with how we're going to transition from comms to CommsPlus, and I want to just talk through that briefly. Basically, the message here is that we are no longer selling the comms package to new customers as of today. Any customer that we talk to about this functionality that I just went through will need to subscribe to the CommsPlus package. So the comms package is just not being sold by our sales teams any longer. And it's difficult, obviously, to try and support multiple baselines of multiple products. So we will be ending the support of what we call the legacy comms package at the end of the year, and we will be moving everybody that opts into CommsPlus to the CommsPlus package at the end of Q1 2020 or sooner, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. But effectively, the comms package will be end of life, and we will ask all of our customers to make a commitment to the new CommsPlus package no later than Q1 of 2020. So a lot of the questions that obviously we're getting from those customers we have talked to, or what are the cost implications, etc. We do have plenty of. There will be an extra cost for CommsPlus, but we do have some incentives that we're prepared to offer, especially to those early adopters. Those operators that would like to move quickly from comms to CommsPlus. We're happy to chat about what we can do to help minimize the impacts on budgets and so forth. And the same thing for those operators on the call that are actually pulling data via our APIs to move to the enhanced APIs with some of this additional information. We're happy to have those conversations as well. I promise this is not going to be too painful, but it does come at a greater expense delivering a product like this with this additional functionality and additional data and the data stored behind it that's required. But we will do our best to address that with all of our customers. So with that said, to chat with our team about that and what that means to you individually as operators, please reach out to either Larry Follin or Casey Davis, and you see their emails there on the screen. And again, we're excited about bringing the new product, and hopefully you've seen some functionality in the product that you're excited about. I'll mention one more time, it is modular in nature, so if there are certain tools within the product that you'd rather not use, that's fine too. But again, Larry and Casey can have some direct conversations with you to discuss that. All right, so with that, I'm going to give you half of the hour back. And again, thank you everyone for participating today. Have a good day.